Serena VanderWoodsen, the it girl, the wild girl, the boho chick, free-spirited, the absolute dream who every girl wants to be and every guy wants to be with. Tall, blonde, beautiful, with a smile and a demeanor that you can't help but be drawn to. She can do no wrong, right? Right?
There's somewhere I have to go. I'm sorry, but I have to go. In fact, I have to go. I have to go meet Blair. I have to go meet Blair. I have to go. All right, I have to go.
I promise I will. I have to go.
There you are. I have to go now. I have to go. I have to go make a quick call. I have to go. I have to go. And I love you. But I have to go.
Today in So I Watch, we will talk about Serena VanderWoodsen from Gossip Girl, and we are going to dissect this polarizing character and what made her enviable to some and unbearable to others. And just to let you know, I'm going to cover most of the events of the 6 seasons of Gossip Girl, and I will talk mainly about the show and not the books, so spoiler alert. Serena Celia VanderWoodsen was born in July 14, 1991, daughter of Lily Rhodes and William VanderWoodsen and sister of Eric VanderWoodsen. She's been friends with Nate, Chuck, and Blair from a young age, since their families are acquainted. This being an important part of Serena's life, especially during a time where her father was mostly absent of her life and Lily was running away with her many boyfriends, leaving Serena and Eric at the care of the nannies and their friends' families, which made their relationship with her friends, especially Blair, a stronger bond than most.
Remember how she always used to just jet off to Mystique or Ibiza without warning while you and Eric were still in school?
Eleanor always knew when we showed up with our overnight bags.
Lily had a new boyfriend.
We tried alternating between you and the Archibalds, so you guys never knew how bad it really was.
We knew.
We learned in the first episode of the show that during the Shepherd's wedding, Serena slept with Blair's boyfriend Nate, who's always had feelings for Serena. Being consumed by guilt, Serena ran away to Connecticut and asked her mother to be enrolled in boarding school. After finding out that her brother Eric tried to take his own life, she comes back to the city to check on him and be supportive in this difficult time. After enrolling back into Constance Biller's school for girls, she finds out that things have changed, especially with Blair. She finds her to be cold and callous towards her comeback, and she successfully talks that out until Blair finds out the reason why she left.
I thought everything was good between us.
It was. Before I found out you had sex with my boyfriend.
From there, we start to see a perpetual power struggle between them that will last for the whole show, accompanied by small moments of growth as the series progresses that are not precisely coming from Serena. More on this later. Serena's plotlines during the show mostly alternate between 4 topics: the men she dates and how she's overly trusting with perfect strangers but constantly carries a chip on her shoulder for the ones that know her better.
I love you.
Okay.
Her past coming back plotlines in which we learn more about who Serena used to be and how it plays into the present, who she's trying to become and who she's trying to run away from.
I guess you haven't changed as much as you thought.
Trying to find her calling in life, because while she has everything in her disposition to succeed, she doesn't seem to be directed towards anything where she can purposefully use her many qualities.
I have decided not to go to Brown.
Oh, Serena.
And last but not least, her relationship with Blair, where she purposefully or inadvertently gets in the way of her alleged best friend's pursuits, which end up in them reconciling after they impulsively try to destroy each other.
I'm so sorry.
In the last episode of the show, we see her getting married to Dan Humphrey, which after discovering he was Gossip Girl, the anonymous blogger who tormented everyone in her friend group, but especially her, it seems counterproductive, but in a way, the most Serena ending that the writers could come up with. Now that we know a little bit about her history, let's talk about her. Serena is the kind of person who projects an appearance from the outside that not only shows her good breeding, her beauty, and her societal status in the higher spheres of Manhattan, but also a warmth and effortlessness that contrasts with the rigidity and careful thoroughness of the Upper East Side. This is perfectly emphasized when she's standing next to Blair, who's the perfect example of the latter.
Tiger, okay? Come on.
Serena is beautiful, nice, free-spirited, with a smile that brightens up the room and other people's hearts, open-minded, and always willing to explore, and not be constrained by her environment, which makes her more accepting of people who are not in the same societal class as her. In some cases, this is seen more as a way of rebellion than as a way of genuine connection, which happens to be part of the latter when the relationship is solidified. She's more akin to a California surfer girl than a New York princess. Even the writers of the show said that when they cast Blake Lively. But this is precisely what makes her perfect for Serena. She's like a breath of fresh air in other people's lives, and she seems to feel comfortable in the way that other people perceive her, accept her, and sort of idolize her, but without this input, she lacks the self-concept and self-assurance necessary to make choices of her own accord.
Let me speak frankly. You're not that smart. You lack focus and discipline. Charm is all well and good, but in the real world, knowledge is power.
Blair could have said it better. However, she's both right and wrong here, because Serena's easy graces with people is what has turned her into a staple of New York society, unlike Blair, who has always been striving and working hard for that kind of power. It's undeniable that she was born with an innate spark that people cannot get enough of. But another undeniable truth is that that alone won't get you far if you don't know how to take advantage of it. Which is a huge part into what makes Serena so complex, and what ultimately be a personality drawback that by her marrying Dan, we can see in the end that she couldn't overcome.
I don't want to be irrelevant.
Irrelevant? You're Serena VanderWoodsen.
As we have mentioned before, Serena, like Blair and Jenny, has a deep need to try to prove herself. The difference between them is that Blair and Jenny's personalities and backbone have been solidified by the perceived difficulties and the effort they put to overcome them. Sometimes this effort can be misguided and therefore backfires on them, but they get out of these situations stronger, wiser, and with a new perspective in life. Serena, on the other hand, has been handed everything so effortlessly that the opportunity of reflection can be taken away too easily, leading her to not really learn from the situations she's going through. Her perpetual need to go away and start anew are just an example of this. When she came back to New York in season 1 and then again in season 6, we noticed that she was expecting everyone to forget what has happened, what she has done, and just for others to follow through her need of renewal, without considering making amends with her past, let alone accepting it.
You fell off the face of the earth without a word.
I wanted to start fresh without any of you.
In this sense, we can say that her charm and her easy graces with people can be a blessing and a curse, because Serena gets away with a lot, while also being robbed of the opportunity of genuine growth. And unlike Blair or Jenny, she lacks the tenacity, strength, and even maliciousness to work with or use it in her favor to accomplish something.
Look, everyone, it's Olivia Burke kissing her boyfriend, Dan Humphrey.
Olivia, if you're dating this guy, who's dating Patrick Roberts? Yeah, how about that?
I am. Just, avoid each other until you leave.
Yeah.
There you two are.
Serena has the world at the palm of her hands, but she doesn't know what to do with it. She's everything and has everything everyone can wish to have or be, and that has left her with nothing to achieve. And ironically, that effortless, shiny personality doesn't translate into inner strength, which makes her trapped into the comforts of her current life and the expectant idea of a new one. Life can only be traced to her troubled upbringing. Having the sun in this position, natural light, and let's face it, wealth and social capital that Serena has, does come with its drawbacks. A lot of people want to be attached to you just for the merit of being associated with you for the previously mentioned benefits, and not all of them are good people. We see Serena's lack of discernment when it comes to new acquaintances and old ones too. In her romantic life, Serena is usually approached by scammers and liars, and for some reason is people she vouches for and protects without knowing much of them, who end up taking advantage of her naivete. This sort of behavior can be traced back to her own upbringing, where she was neglected, ignored, and left to her own devices, and therefore she resorts to do wild things to get the attention she was denied from her parents. While her mother was gallivanting with a new lover each season, her father was nowhere to be found, leaving Serena and Eric to raise themselves and each other from a very early age, which can explain why Serena feels at home when people admire her from afar, but shies away from the ones who want to get to know her and love her on a deeper level, subconsciously attaching herself to the ones who make her see love as a struggle to conquer.
I mean, why wouldn't I want to hear those words come out of his mouth? But it's like it made me trust him less, which is crazy.
I mean, every time Mom brought home someone who said I love you, they would end up married.
And then divorced.
This history is replicated when her father comes back, and she sort of reverts back into her childhood self by doing everything in her power to make him stay. In this case, not only her father has failed her, but also her mother. As it was mentioned at the beginning, Serena was left on her own with Eric when she was very young, and even with the amount of privilege that she has, she couldn't escape the repercussions of a neglectful mother, who wanted to rebuild the family once Eric tried to end his own life, which made Serena inadvertently become a wild child just like her mother was in her youth, while at the same time rebelling against everything she represents in her present.
From what I hear, you have been in places far dirtier than this.
Try spending 9 hours with Jane's addiction on the Ohio Turnpike. Then we'll talk about dirty.
This sort of an unhealthy attachment also translates into her relationship with Blair. Although in some situations Serena does participate and even initiate the conflict between them, some of the things that Blair does to Serena are absolutely unforgivable. All of these without mentioning that the dynamics of jealousy and callousness between them makes it less than a healthy relationship. A healthy individual will separate themselves from people who are jealous of them. In the case of Serena, being accustomed to so much chaos and uncertainty, she would latch onto any kind of love she can have, even if it's on the unstable kind. Being a person who draws everyone's attention makes it difficult to build genuine connections, especially if you don't know who you are yourself. Having a Serena in your circle can be an emotionally and mentally draining experience as well. We not only see that the whole show is about Serena, but also how having her in your life can be exhausting and time-consuming. This situation happens mostly because the lack of thought she puts into her own actions that end up affecting everyone around her, and that's usually a drawback that spontaneous people tend to have. Well, more impulsive than spontaneous. Serena is not always malicious with her actions, but the effects on other people's lives can make her a difficult person to be around. This kind of behavior also makes her extra jealous and possessive when the attention is deviated from her to another person, even if that rarely happens. This has been shown by her trying to sabotage Blair and Dan's relationship, and also when Lola was getting more attention than her. Serena betraying Blair and Lola on purpose is a way for her to protect her spot in society, while also perpetuating the life she benefits from, but she's also feeling entrapped by. This sense of instability in Serena's life makes her make the same mistakes over and over again, not only for a lack of self-reflection, but also because she doesn't trust her own discernment, and it's afraid of a life she cannot fully comprehend, and for her this combination of situations will entrap her in a loop of poor decisions who are similar, making her a slave of her own pursuit of freedom. She will always be the victim of her own poor rushed action, and she will spend her life trying to escape from the only thing she cannot get away from, herself. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Bye-bye.